Did Stanley Kubrick intentionally put this in the movie The Shining, or is this just a coincidence? That is the question today. In this video, we explore the mysterious connections and hidden meanings in Kubrick's classic film, exploring the significance of 42 and other subtle details. Did Kubrick embed secret messages, or are these simply coincidences? Stay tuned as we uncover the secrets of The Shining. So let's start with the well-known references to 42 in The Shining. Danny has the number 42 on his shirt. So I'm going to judge this as intentional. I believe Kubrick intentionally put the number 42 on Danny's shirt. The next is Danny hits the dartboard at 2, 3, and 7, which happens to be the room number for 237. 2 times 3 is 6, times 7 is 42. I do believe Kubrick put this in the movie intentionally. I also believe that's the reason why Kubrick changed the room number in The Shining from Stephen King's 217 to 237. What do you think? The Summer of 42? I believe it's intentional. Kubrick added this intentionally. What do you think? I believe the placement of the Summer of 42 has two intentional purposes. One, the number 42, and the second is an inappropriate relationship between an older female and a young boy. Which brings us to our next example, Lolita. It's impossible to miss that in the opening credits, while Danny Lloyd's name is on the screen, he is the one who played 5-year-old Danny Torrance in The Shining, you see a 1940s car that looks just like the station wagon in Stanley Kubrick's 1962 adaptation of Lolita. This is important because it's the only connection between the number 42 and Stanley Kubrick's other movies. I do believe the placement of the station wagon in the credits at that exact moment is very telling, not only about inappropriate relationships between older people and children, but about the number 42 as well. I was shocked when I rewatched Stanley Kubrick's 1962 adaptation of the movie Lolita and saw that the first hotel room that Lolita and Humbert was staying at was room 242. I do not believe this is just a coincidence. I do believe this was intentionally put in The Shining by Kubrick. In my research, I have not stumbled across anyone else with this theory. Please let me know in the comments if you have. Stephen King lived on 42nd Street in Boulder, Colorado in 1974 for less than a year. This, in my opinion, is a coincidence because it wasn't even in the movie. 13 stripes. 7 red, 6 white. That's the United States American flag. Is that why Kubrick had the American flag all over the Overlook Hotel? Displayed incorrectly at times, I may add. This makes me think it was intentional. The high tide of Axis powers and the most lethal year of the Holocaust came in 1942 as the Germans ran amok in the Soviet Union and the Japanese smashed the Western empires in Asia. That is what you get when you Google what was the worst year in history. This is from the Atlantica. Now, these are the exact words Ullman used to describe Charles Grady's murdering his family. Ullman stated that Charles Grady ran amok after he killed his wife and 2 little girls, ages 8 and 10. I do believe this was intentionally put in The Shining as a nod to the number 42. Moving on to the controversial how many cars in the Overlook parking lot topic, I am here to say I believe there are 42 cars in the Overlook parking lot, including the snowcat. And I do believe that Kubrick intentionally placed 42 cars in the parking lot of the Overlook. Another popular fan theory is the 7-Up. The 7-Up is shown at various times throughout the movie, and the 7-Up is stacked 6 cases high. I do believe this was intentional, but I have to wonder, could this also just be product placement where Kubrick is actually being paid by 7-Up for advertisement? Could both be true? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. Teddy Roosevelt was 42 when he took office of the President of the United States of America. He was president when the Overlook was first built and first opened. I believe this was included not only to reference the number 42, but also to reference all of the teddy bears at the Overlook. You see, Teddy Roosevelt, the President of the United States, is the reason we call teddy bears, because on a hunting expedition, he refused to shoot an injured bear, and everybody just started calling him Teddy Bear. This is one of my personal theories. What do you think? My next theory, I actually made an entire video on the fact that I believe that the Torrance family stayed 42 days at the Overlook Hotel, and I do believe that was intentional. The monster, Ted Bundy, which I believe is one of the reasons why Kubrick changed the color of his Volkswagen Beetlebug from red to yellow, was 42 years old when he was executed by the state of Florida. His birthday is actually the 24th month, and he was executed on the 24th day. If you flip those numbers, it's 42. The 24-year-old Aspen woman, who I believe Ted Bundy abducted, brought to the Overlook so that she could do the Overlook's bidding by tempting Jack, was 24 years old. If you switch the numbers, it's 42. Back to Danny's shirt with the number 42 on the arm sleeve. On the front of the shirt, we see Bugs Bunny. Danny's nickname is Doc in The Shining. You know, like, "What's up, Doc?"
Well, anyway, he looks like a doc, doesn't he? Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Anyone remember the 1972 What's Up, Doc movie? It's literally about 4 suitcases, and the suitcases are present in The Shining as well. Also, Barbra Streisand, the star of What's Up, Doc, was born in 1942. On April 24th, 1942. That contains 2 42s. Okay, it gets interesting now. And no, I am not making this up. But Jack Nicholson was 42 years old when he wrapped the filming of The Shining. So when he was through with all of his work for The Shining, he was 42 years old. Now, I would like to call your attention to his birthday. 4/22/1937. We have 42 and we have room number 237, all in Jack Nicholson's date of birth. Wow. I don't know, coincidence or intentional? I'm thinking coincidence. Jack yells through the door that he'll huff and puff and blow their house in to Jack and Wendy. That's from the Three Little Pigs. Published in 1842. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That's 42 characters. The saying was changed when the movie was released in Germany. Never put off till tomorrow what can be done today. 42 characters, excluding spaces. 1938, Snow White was released. 42 years later, The Shining was released. Now you might wonder, what does The Shining have to do with Snow White? Well, a lot. There's isolation themes, there's temptation themes. What say you about the 42-year difference between the movies? Coincidence? Probably. So what is the deal? Why does The Shining have so many references to the number 42? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, published October 12, 1979. This novel describes a supercomputer named Deep Thought answers the question, the great question, of life, the universe, and everything. And the answer is 42. I believe Stanley Kubrick was able to obtain a copy of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe well before the published date, just as he did with The Shining. He read the book, thought it was hilarious, and decided to incorporate it into The Shining. Again, this is just my opinion based on pure speculation. 42 years ago, I picked up my very first novel, The Shining by Stephen King. From the very first page, I felt an intense connection with the Torrance family. So much of their story mirrored my own life, a family haunted by the struggles of an alcoholic father. When Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining came out on video in the early 80s, I was shocked by how different it was from the book. But more than the changes, it was the film's unsettling strangeness that affected me. At 13, it was overwhelming. I ended up covering my eyes and my ears through most of the movie. Then, in 2024, I watched Kubrick's film again. And this time, I didn't see the strange horror film that once terrified me. Instead, I saw a masterpiece, a complex puzzle layered with meaning. The nostalgia is incredible. And soon I felt as though I were playing the most fascinating game with Stanley Kubrick himself. The Shining no longer frightens me. It challenges, it confuses, and mystifies me. The videos I create are my way of sharing this incredible journey and inviting others to join in, because the game is truly afoot. When I started doing videos on The Shining, I had 42 subscribers. Now I have 64. Thank you all very much. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and have a nice day. And remember, till we meet again, shine on, my friends.